We had an earlier conversation about Pierre Dorian and the mission of the Ottawa Senators, or at least their goal was to play meaningful games. And I'm not sure if this season's going to be remembered. Is there a cut line on when there were meaningful games or when there's not? Do they have any games left that are meaningful, including Saturday night against the Leafs?
I think that word, Kipper, is now banned in Ottawa, meaningful games. People are so sick of hearing that term. I'll say this. When they beat Detroit on those back-to-back games, those were, I'm not even going to say it, those were important games. And those were kind of testers where you say, okay, what are we made of here? Here's a team that we're kind of right about the same spot here. Detroit, Ottawa, both rebuilding, both trying to get better. And then I thought Ottawa took a huge step. And then, you could blame it. Cam Talbot got hurt. They've got their third string, Solgart. Mandolizzi, their fourth string. It's such a big ask. It's a big ask to try and make the playoffs or to make a huge run with those two goaltenders. So, that last road trip they had, that really cooked their goose. But I will say this. The team still is playing hard, and I'll give DJ Smith a lot of credit. This group, they still make mistakes. They still make young mistakes. You look at their center ice position, they're really, really young guys down the middle. Like it's Stützle, then it's Pinto, and then it's Kastelik, and then Gambrell. Like they're just so young down the middle. So they still play hard. Are they still meaningful games? Yeah, they are, because I think this is a great time to evaluate. To me, you can't tell what kind of player you really have until you put them in a situation where there's a little bit of skin on the line. And they've had that the last little while, so there's a lot of players that I could say, yeah, I know what this guy's all about now.
So I want to talk about the next step with Ottawa, because I look at a lot of teams who tried to rebuild. They get bad, like the Oilers did it for a while, and it's Yakupov, and it's Hall, and it's Eberle, and it's all these guys, and it doesn't always come. It's not guaranteed to go from bad to having players to becoming a contender. So, like, the next step for the Ottawa Senators is curious to me because we don't know ownership. We don't know like what they're going to spend or willingness to spend will be. What do you forecast for this Senators team in trying to turn the page from bad to the middle to what comes next?
So number one, Bernie, I think new ownership, whoever it's going to be here, they're going to be close to a cap team, if not a cap team. I think there's an appetite for whoever buys the team, because you're not going to spend $1 billion and come in and say, you know what? Now we're going to cut some corners, and we're not going to spend money. So they're obviously going to have deep pockets. So number one, I think they got to figure out what they're going to do on nets. You're not going anywhere in this league unless you figure out what you have in nets. And we could talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs later on that.
You guys want to trade for Matt Murray?
No, thanks. And so we'll see. I think the draft is going to be really important for them, Borny. Like I still think, and this is just me, and people thought I was crazy, I think Alex DeBrincat is a huge piece to play at the draft. I just think they can really do something. If he doesn't want to extend, I think you can move in and get a couple really nice pieces. You look at a team like the Calgary Flames. If they miss the playoffs, they're just one team in particular. Man, they're going to be looking to make some moves. So, number one, goaltending, and then number two, I think they need another defenseman and a top six forward that plays on the inside, not on the outside. They need a guy that can play inside the dots and be a hard guy to play. It's just to add to guys like Tkachuk and Stützle. But I think it's going to be really interesting with what happens with DeBrincat in the summer.